This is Trader. It is Hump Day, which is Fed Day, and which is Crude Day. A lot of stuff going on here today. Okay, now the API report came out yesterday for crude oil, and crude had a draw of 3.4 million. Gasoline had a draw of zero point 0.7 million. Distillates had a build of 1.9 million, and Cushing had a small draw of 0.4 million. Now, the EIA report will be out today at 10:30. We'll see if it confirms the old action. Now, remember, today is going to be all about the Fed. At 2 o'clock, I think they're going to cut a quarter point, but that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking at the language at 2:30 going forward. There's two more meetings yet left in the year, so we got to see if they're going to be doing any more cut, and if so, by how much. Okay, we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin. We'll take a look at gold, silver, crude oil, and natural gas. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, selling stock, buy ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Here we have Bitcoin, daily, weekly chart. Now, let's just see what's shaking here. All right, now, you can see here how we had this downtrend situation, and now we broke back up here. Now we're back above the 50-day, looking very, very nice. This 8-day crossed over that 21-day, and now she's moving right towards that 50-day, which can provide very, very nice support. Okay, so what we have here is this 50-day. This is going to be very key level. So on a closing basis, we want to hold at 115,872. Next in line is going to be right there at 114,951. That's your 8 SMA. And then we come to the bottom of this candle here. We're looking at 113,590. And then we'll come down to your 21-day at 113,304 level. That all is all your key support levels. Obviously, if we lose that, we come to the bottom of this candle. You look at 111,230 level, 111,15. Come down here at 110,480, but then we'll be looking right here at 110,259. That is going to be very, very key. Now, upside, you can see here where we made this higher high. We're right into that 640 level. So we're actually going to look in here very, very strongly. So what we're looking at is right there. Okay, see that top of that candle? Lines up right there. See that price channel? Okay, see, that's what we're looking at next. So if we can blow through that bad boy, then we're going to come right to the top of there at 118,350. That'll be your next line. And then we'll come up top of there, 119,810 and 127.55. Always look to the left, 121,255. Sticky here at 122,955. And then we got to stretch out just a little bit because we want to get this guy in here at 123.16. And then we have 123.75, and then here's your big retest at 125.200. Now, if we can get above that level right here, this 125.200, then you can be heading ready for that 130, probably 135. Because when this, remember, when this Bitcoin rips, it rips up very, very nicely. Okay, so let's just look at the past kind of situation. You went all the way from 74,000. We got all the way up to here to 112. Okay, so then we got back down to this area here at 104, and then you ripped all the way up here to that 120 level. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Just always look to the past, because where it's been, usually where it's going. Now, when we look at the weekly chart here, well, we're holding that 21-day nicely. Look at that, okay? And we're holding this 8-day. So this 115.30 by Friday is key, and same way with the 110.763. But you can see bottom left, upper right, nice, good uptrending chart kind of a situation. Now, we had that double top situation. So once we get above that 125.200, she's going to rip up nicely. We look at the RSI, you're only sitting at 61. That's plenty of room to run. The green is still below your red. But again, it's going to take time. But once it curls up, then we have that nice, good running situation, okay? Like we had there, like we had here, like we have here. All right, so now we look at the RSI here. You're only looking at 54, plenty of room. The green is over your red. This is looking very, very good, and we got this really nice, good bull building here. Now, again, sometimes you can do a cup and a handle, so we have to maybe watch. A lot of times what it does, you'll have this cup building, and then we can do is we have a low situation, but it's building a handle. Then once you break that handle, she rips. Now, that's not saying that's what's going to develop, but again, we just have a nice, good uptrending here chart. So again, today, just watch that 50-day, very, very critical. That 8-day, very critical. And then at 21-day, we need to hold this here on a closing basis. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. Here we have gold and silver. Now, you can see the big run-up that we've had in this. But again, I always point out this RSI. See how overbought that situation is again? MACD is way at the top of the range. That's good. And then we look at these, always these little bars. See this? How she's coming right on down. Be a little bit cautious going on up here. Okay, so yesterday we had an indecision candle. Today we made a high at 37.39. Today so far 37.32 kind of a situation. But pay attention to this because this is very, very critical. Now downside right there, 36.90. That 8-day, that's going to be everything. You need to hold that. If you lose that, it's going to be 36.62. And then we have 36.51 level. We come over top of that candle, 36.40, and then we just crack it right on down, 36.21, 35.95 level. We have 35.73, and then when we run right to this, 35.63, then we come to the top of that candle at 35.34 level. Okay, but again, the 8-day is key. So as long as we're above that 8-day, you have sideways to up action. Okay, if we lose that 8-day, then we just follow these candles out until we hit our really key support level all the way down to 21-day, possible 50-day, possible 100 SMA. But we're getting way, way overbought situation, and a lot of times that just does not last, as they say. Okay, so upside. Wow, upside here. Well, what we're doing is obviously we're looking at today's highs, 37.32, but realistically, you're looking at that 37.39. That's going to be the very, very key. But always look to the left of the chart here, okay? See how we have this red candle? So if this does rally up, look right here to the top of that 37.15 level, and then that 37.24 before we hit all of those. That's going to be your resistant level, okay? Now, just because we popped it up here for a couple days, that doesn't mean anything. You got to close back above this area, and then we can go higher. Now, you crack that 37.39, obviously 37.50, and take it all the way up to 38.100, maybe even 38.20. Let's see how it all shakes out, because it's going to have a lot to do with the Fed meeting today. Okay, silver. Well, silver coming right back off here again. Now we had a really nice, good consolidation, rallied right on up here, very nice. Got all the way to 43 level, and now she had the big red candle, and we're selling right on off. So downside, you're watching at today's low at 41.55. Then we'll come down to the bottom there, 41.33, and then we'll come down here at that 41.14 level, right? Then we looked at the top of that candle, 40.86. The bottom of this candle, which is 41.99. And then we come down to your 40.62 level, which is your 21 SMA. Okay. Now we keep on right on going here. All we got to do is just follow the top of those candle, 39.91. We'll come down here at 39.57, and then we're looking for the 50-day. Big red candle. That's never good. Yesterday we had that red candle, and now we bring it all the way down. That's why I say I trade a GLD for the gold, SLV for the silver, but I do it on a daily basis. I just trade it for that day, and I'm out. I'm not really what you call a gold silver trader, but I do, when we do have a run up, I will jump into it and take the money. Okay, I mean, that's just what a trader does. Now, upside right there, 42.19. That's going to be very, very key. You want to get it back above that 42.19. Then we look to the top of that candle at 42.35 level, and then we just work this bad boy up here. You got 42.47. We have 42.61. We look at today's high at that 42.94, and then we just keep following 43.04, 43.23, and then 43.43. Crack above that, you're going to go right towards that 44, possibly even that 45 level, if not higher, right? But we can see here how we got to this overbought situation. Kind of, there's no negative divergence. There was here, but then that outplayed itself, so there is no negative divergence. You're just having a sell-off. Now the green is still above the red, so that can still curl right back up. So let's just see how this shakes out here for the day. You need to get back above that 8-day, then we can resume the uptrend situation. All right, let's take a look at crude oil and natural gas. Here we have crude oil and natural gas. Now, remember, crude oil, the EIA report will be out today at 10:30, and a lot of times that is a market mover. Now, we had a nice good draw here on the EIA report on the crude oil. This list is the only one that really had a build. The other ones also had that small draw. Okay, so here we are. We've had this nice good run up. We had indecision candle, and we had this nice good run up situation, and we had made a high of that 64.76. We're looking for this 50-day at 64.87. So I came here pretty close. Now today, 64.67, we put in a lower high situation, and now we have a red candle, but we still have what they call an inside day. So got to just really pay attention to yesterday's candle. That 64.76 on the top, 62.89 on the bottom. All right. Now, upside. Well, you got to get back above that 64.44. That is your 100-day. You get above that, then we're going to retest that 64.87, that 50-day, and then we have your retest here at 66.03, which is basically just the top of that candle, and then 67.01, which is your 200 SMA. Now, downside here, okay? So say we lose this and it keeps right on rolling. Right here, 63.46, that is your 21-day. You need to hold that. and you need to hold this 8-day at 63.19. Those are your two key support levels. Now, if you lose that, then we come down to yesterday's low, 62.89 level. We'll come down here, 62.52. We have 62.21, 61.69 to retest, and then 61.45 is your big retest going on. All right, let's see here. So for today, what we really want to watch is the key levels, okay? 21-day, 63.46, 8-day. That's the key on the downside. Upside, you want to get right back above that 64.44, your 8-day, and we want to get above that 64.88, which is your 50-day. You do that, you have the price channel, and then we have the 200-day. Now, if this keeps on selling down, 61.45, that's going to be very, very critical. We lose that, here's your big target. It's going to be right there at 59.74. Okay, so that's on a closing basis. Then we can come right down here. Your other big target, 57.74, and then your retest down there at 55.12. Okay, now there is support in between all of that. However, these will be your big targets, and that's what we'll be looking for here on a closing basis. Now, we have this like a bear flag situation, ran up, came down. Now we'd have to say pretty much the same thing, 3 days up, and now we got to see how bad this last day is going to be. Is it going to just sit there and maybe crack back up again, or is it going to come down like we've had in the past? All right, you're only sitting here at 50. That's got room to run either way. That's not overbought, oversold. Yeah, green is over your red. This is not overbought, oversold. So basically, just trade this range. I use UCO for the long, SEO for the short. Works out very, very nicely. Now, Natty Gas. All right. Natty Gas, we had that big boom low. I think that was a contract roll, and then I have to check in. But I think it was. And then we just have now ourselves a nice, good situation here because we are above that key 50-day, 8-day, and 21-day. Looking very good. So yesterday we made this high at 313. So all we have to do is just look right to the left of the chart here. Look at what we got. 313. Okay. So today we made a high of 314, just a hair above it. So what we're looking for next is right here is 316, and then right there at that 319 level. Okay. Now, crack above that. Here we go. 329. Crack above that. 349. Crack above that. We come right on top of that candle. You're looking at 362. We come up there. We're looking at 375. We have a retest up there at 414. But got a lot of resistance going up here before we start heading that direction. But I like to show you where it can go. Now, downside. 306. 50-day. Very, very critical. 8-day. 305. Okay, then we come on top of this candle at 3 flat, and then we'll come right down here at that 294 level. We crack that, we come down to the yesterday's low, 286, and then we come down here at that 277. 274 is a gap fill, 265, and then retest down at 262. Right now, we're looking here pretty good. Let's see if that 8-day can cross above that 50-day, and that would push that price up higher. Now, you're only sitting at 57. That's got plenty of room to run. Green over your red, looking very, very good. This time of the year, we're coming into something. Now, we're still in a downtrend situation here when we look at this chart. Okay, we're still downtrending. Okay, high, lower high, lower high. But, big but here, if we crack above that 31.19 and start growing up to that 39.21, the 100-day, then we can break that downtrend and we reverse that, and then we start heading for all those nice targets on the upside. Okay, winners coming into the situation. You got a big retest up here all the way to 490. Not saying that's where it's going to go, but we have ourselves a cold winter. First thing you're going to go through is natural gas. All right. So again, the downtrend here is still intact, but we have a nice, good opportunity to take this higher. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after the actually midday trading. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll be back here for midday trading. But just remember, today's all going to be about that 2 o'clock, that Fed meeting. 2:30 is going to be the speech, and that's going to be the critical on traders are looking at what's this going forward kind of a situation. Right now, there's expected a 25% basis cut, so we got to see how that's all going to shake out. But it's going forward is going to be the key, and the inflation numbers and everything on that order. Okay, so everything today is going to be about the Fed meeting. You got the EIA report there for crude oil at 10:30, so it's got to stay really, really sharp there today. All right, trade what's in front of you. Now what you want.